Good morning, guys. I'll give it a few minutes for everybody to check in. Hello, guys. I see we have one person from Georgia. Where else? Where else are you guys located? Oh, Canada. Wow. How's the weather out in Canada right now? How's it going, Stuart? Naples, Florida. Good, good. As you guys may know, I'm out of Houston, Texas. We got North Carolina, Florida, Hawaii. Hello, New York. Texas, Fort Worth. Good, good. All over. All over. So today's video, Alabama, oh, hold up, West Missouri, California. Wow, great, covering a lot. San Antonio. No problem, Manuel. I'm still trying to get it together. I would like to do a lot more videos, but I have to build a space so I can show you guys, so you can see the electronics. It's one thing to talk about it, but I like for you to be able to see it and, show you how it's wired. If you have any questions, we can go over it that way. But I figure by maybe next week, end of next week, I should have the wall finished, and we should be able to do some just live videos on specifics and things that we go over. You'll be able to ask those questions and get them answered, and actually show you. We'll have a few cameras where we can zoom in on things. Today's class is just choosing a platform. It is Caesar. Can everybody see what's on screen, or yes or no? I have one guy who says he can't see anything. Oh, I thought about cutting it off, Tim. Nope, it is in Arkansas. Can you guys see that choosing the platform? Yeah, good. All right. Good, okay. Still reconnecting, okay. All right, good, good. Okay. Well, Clinton, Arkansas here. The choosing the platform will be, it'll go over somewhat what we went over for the initial class. So this is just an introduction into showing you guys software. So we'll just start it off, get it going. First hour, 4 hours. I figure this one will go maybe an hour, if that. This will not be 2 hours. The first one was about 2 hours. I think I'll try to do these at about an hour. The software, going over the different softwares, I think I'll make them 2 hours. But here we're going to go and get started. It won't be long, guys. So about me, some of you may have already heard this, who did the first lesson. My name is Brenton Webb. I'm a former integrator here out of Houston, originally from New Orleans. I have an associate's degree in computer and electronic repair, but my original choice of work was body and fender and automotive, but I changed it over before I can get done. I moved to Houston in 2005. In 2006, I started doing integration for a small company called Access Control Concepts. I've bounced around over the last 13, 14 years, 4 years at Stanley, I worked as a subcontractor. I worked for Intech twice, and now I'm at Flake. I've been here for 1 year totally. Francisco, try to log out and log back in if you can't see anything. Everybody else seems to be having a no issue. Integrator, integration, I guess, where you take the access control portion and video portion and maybe like a building automation, and they work together, so they're integrated. So basically a fancy word, I've done access control and video on a large scale for 13 years. That would be an integrator. You're doing both of those. You're integrating different things together. Just integration. Just a pretty word, fancy word, guys. That's all. Inglewood, California. Oh, we're still checking in. Still checking in. Okay. Can you hear me now, Denise? All right, good. Okay. So Matt said that he went to Google, not Yahoo. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Maybe Yahoo may have some issues. So the first thing in choosing a platform, you want to talk to the customer. You want to ask a bunch of questions, as much as possible from your customer, so you get as much information before you set them up on the platform to make sure it's right for them. So first question, a simple one, why do you want access control? Just ask them, see what they say. They'll say, you'll hear quite a few different things. Some people will say so they can keep track of employees, see when they come and go, because their neighboring business has gotten it. They may do that. It would be a wide variety of answers you'll get. But just ask them that question, and just once you get the answer, move on to the next question, and you'll just ask a series of questions before you can at least start to try to figure out what will work best for them. So next, I would just ask, do you have a preference on the system? And if they say yes, ask why. Reason being, they may have seen their neighboring businesses' new access control system, and it may be just, for example, a web-based system, and that might be the feature that they are looking for. So you just want to know why they have a preference, and if so, get that answer. That would help you narrow down what's a platform to get for them. Next, find out what type of access control system do they want and what do they need. Generally, what they want will not be what they need. So they may describe to you, hey, we're having employees going out and taking some extended breaks, or we want to keep track of them at lunch, or a wide variety of answers. Once you get that answer, then that would another question just help you to get to where you want to be in picking a system. Next one, find out what type of credentials they want to use for their access control system. And a few of them, you have a PIN, just use the PIN to get in. You could use a card. You could use a fob, card and a fob, they work the same. You scan them on the reader. You could use biometrics. I did not include on here, there's a long range readers. It just depends. Ask a bunch of questions, find out what they want to use. But if they say, hey, look, I like to use card and PIN, card or PIN. So you would know then you need to pick a reader that has card and PIN. Pretty simple. The questions you'll ask will help you pick out what you need to get for your customer. Next, you want to see if you need a wireless system, a hardwired system, or a combination of both. Sometimes the facility allows for one. So maybe you can only do wired at a certain facility. So if you know that's it, you have to start picking their system based on the first few questions, and you would know we have to start picking wired wireless systems. Okay. Tony asked, how about phone readers? So phone readers are Bluetooth readers, and that would be a card reader, but the reader would be Bluetooth reader. So it would read regular cards, and also it would read your phone as a credential. Now, how that works, I think we'll do a course on Bluetooth readers. Let me just take a note of that, guys. And Bluetooth readers will be something we can go over, make a video on. So the Bluetooth reader works by, it's a normal reader. It wires into the control panel the same way via Wiegand. So it's power. You have your green and your white wire for D0, D1, data 0, data 1, and you have a LED wire, the standard Wiegand wiring. So that reader will still read the basic card, and then it'll read your phone. But in order to issue credentials for a phone, you have to set up an account, most likely. Just depends on what manufacturer we choose. And then the administrator would email or text message the person that they want to issue the credentials to. They would have to accept. And then once they accept it and download that app, they would then have a credential on their phone. The credential will have a number. So you'll have an app. In the app, you'll have a phone. You'll have one credential, and let's just say you're user number 1. It'll show 1. To add it to an access control system, you'll have your standard cards and you have phone. You'll then have to add that credential into the system as well. So for user 1, you add them the same exact way as you would add a regular card. So I got a question. Rough estimate number per door for each kind of system. Brian, I'll just mark this for a note. I'll get back with you later on that one. And will the IO system work for this still? Will the IO system work, or is it still the same? Tony, I do not understand that question. And kind of like Kissy, Tim, correct. They have Bluetooth readers as well. I've seen those. I've read about them online. But we'll have a course on that one. We'll do a short video on Bluetooth readers with some system. We'll pick a system to do it with. The last thing that I have, you want to look at the site. Looking at the site and knowing if you're going to go wireless or hardwired, that's going to determine if you can hardwire or if you have to go wireless in certain scenarios. So looking at the site is going to be critical to go and get above ceiling and see what your options are as far as wires and if you can or cannot run wires, because there's going to be some scenarios where there's no wires. That's just what you have presented to you. I've run into situations where the person doing the proposal did not walk the site, and they quoted a job, and I was supposed to have a 100-foot cable run and not going above ceiling. Turned out I had to have a 200, 300-foot cable run just because they did not go and look. that's going to be very important that you go to the site and take a look at above ceiling. It's also good to know it's above ceiling for when it's time for you to run your cables. If you're doing a hardwired system, above ceiling in some buildings, you got unlimited space. It's wide open. Other buildings, the ceiling is quite crowded. So if you're working in hospitals, I can guarantee above ceiling is going to be a mess because there's AC units for every room. There's the water for every floor. There's all of this building automation, network access control, above ceilings in hospitals. Definitely, I would recommend going up and looking up there. And when it's time to pass through walls, you have to make those holes. And sometimes some people want you to put sleeves. Your best interest to get up and go above ceiling. We'll move on to the next slide. And Tim, I'll get back with you later on your answer for what you're asking. Oh, right, Tim. Tim says, don't expect everything above ceiling to be up to code either. Right. You once the building gets built, your first construction, yeah, everything will be up to code because the ceiling tiles are not up. Once those ceiling tiles go up, you're going to have a lot of stuff going on above ceiling that nobody's going to check. So things won't be up to code. Don't be surprised if they're not up to code. Good point, Tim. There you go. Manual. The slides are moving now. This is just another overview of what we went over last week in that first 2-hour session that we did last week. So our types of access control platforms, standalone, server-based, web-based, which you'll see listed by some manufacturers as embedded web server because the software is embedded onto the panel. Then we have cloud-based and we have app-based. To the right are some of the manufacturers that we have. Allegiant and Isonis. We have Carry. We carry Cansec, Engage, Rossler. Rossler will be doing software, going over software tomorrow. And it should be about a 2-hour session of them going over their Xtrax NG software. They'll probably go over a little bit of product as well at the beginning, but it is mainly going to be on software. And Seiko Alarm and ZK Access as well. It's another manufacturer that we carry. I keep going backwards, but I've got it going forward now. So here's just a few examples of the standalone. Yet again, this is just a recap. We're going over this. This is a part of both of the classes that we do, that I do here for Flake. So standalone, we have the Seiko Alarm Reader here. We have Alarm Lock Reader here, standalone. IEI keypad. We have the Rossler, which is a convertible keypad. Pretty neat. It can be a standalone reader, or it can be a Wiegand reader. Pretty neat. They'll probably go over that tomorrow. We have ZK Techos. This is a, I do not have a preference, Tim. The ZK reader, this one is pretty versatile because it is a fingerprint reader, keypad, or card, or it can do all three: fingerprint, keypad, card. It can be a standalone or weekend as well. Pretty neat reader. And here's the last one. We have a ZK Techo. This is a facial recognition reader. This is the older model. Was in my slide before COVID-19 and everything that we have going on now. And I have a new reader, which it is a facial recognition reader, palm print, and it is fever detection. So you can use your palm to get in, you can use your face to get in, and it will throw your temperature and tell you if your temperature is normal or not. I'll show you that at the end of this, the slides. We'll go over that. So for standalone, it is the most cost-effective type of electronic access control system. You can get it in proximity, Prox card. You can get it in a keypad. You can get it in biometric, fingerprint, facial recognition reader as well. And I'll add to this and change this picture. You can get palm print reader as well. I'll add that to the slide. Standalone is by far the easiest to program because all of the wiring and programming is going to be done at the device. You won't have any computers or anything else to connect to it if you're using it as a standalone unit. Standalone has everything on board, so all of the outputs, inputs, and database are stored locally on your device. It's the gist of standalone. We have any questions so far? If you have any questions, send them on through text. I'll give it a second. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen standalone readers. Tony asked if the temperature detection reader, will it grant access if the temperature is high? It's a good question, Tony. I am not sure yet. I just opened it yesterday, tested it yesterday for the day. What I'll probably do is I'll have to adjust the parameters so it'll be lower, and I'll see if it'll grant access. What I have seen someone use it, the temperature, they'll take the temperature, but you have to use it with the software. The software, you have to pay for the license as well to use the software if you're going to use this reader. But if the temperature is high for a specific person, you could have it send an alert out to someone. So just say, for example, you can have it email the administrator, and it would say user 43, has a high temp. But will it grant access? Robert says no, but I'll still check it here and I'll see if I can get access granted. I'll probably put some water on my forehead or just lower the parameters and see what happens. Okay. Here's another few standalone readers that we have. I put part numbers here. So this is the Segolarm 2323 SDQ, which is all aluminum. It is really, really solid, and it's a programmable. Has programmable relays, so I could have two different codes, have it trigger two different locks, or I can have it trigger whatever I need. It has two relays on it. Next is a Segolarm reader, which is standalone as well. And this one is a standalone car reader only. So you would have a programming card, use that card to get into programming mode and add or remove cards that way with a programming card or a master card. And here's the reader that I talked about earlier by ZK. It's a TF1700, and IP65 means this is outdoor rated to be outside in the elements. And Brian says the temp may determine if the subject is living. Yep, that is true, Brian. See if I get it right. Nope, I did not get it right. So here's again, server-based is the next platform type. Server-based, you require a PC in order to use that type of system. PC is called the server. It requires a PC and a controller. All of these devices on screen are controllers, different controllers from different manufacturers, and internet to communicate with the controller. They all have some type of Ethernet connection that will allow you to connect. Software must be installed on the server or on the PC. And if you need another PC to connect, generally that'll be called the client PC, where software is going to be installed as well. All of the programming, so your database changes, IP addresses, doors, door contacts, recs, locks, etc., are to be programmed on the PC and then saved to a controller. You'll see tomorrow when Rossler does their course, you'll see they're programming the methods that they use to get a Rossler panel programmed. Moving forward, we'll cover the Rossler, we'll cover some ZK, Atlas, and their C3 panel. We have ISONAS. We'll put on videos just moving forward on the different platforms that'll work for us. And last, all the transactions from the software are stored on a controller. If the connection to the controller is lost, system will still function, but updates will not be made until you have a connection that is reestablished to the controller. So, example, we have the CANSEC panel in stock. CANSEC, this panel, map1 panel, can be server-based, cloud-based, or web-based. We have the alarm lock panel. This is their hardwired version of their hardwired panel. So if you were using alarm lock locks and you were using the network setup and there's a door that you did not want to be wireless, you need it to be hardwired, this panel would do it and would allow you to hardwire your door, but it would still be on the same alarm lock DO Windows platform. This is ZK Techo's C3 panel. This is the Rossler AC425 IP panel. Here's a carry panel. And last but not least, this is a Keyscan Luna panel by Dormacaba. Let me see what we have said. Most clients want their software on their desktop and not on a dedicated server. Okay, so Tim made a statement. Most clients want their software on their desktop and not on a dedicated server. This will cause problems later, right? It can cause problems later if your access control server, where all of the transactions for your access control system, or if they're on just a normal computer that's used for everyday purposes. If that computer crashes or they do something and deletes things, that's part of some of the problems that you could have with not having a dedicated machine for your access control system. Sometimes customers can't afford it to have a server just for their access control system. If you're dealing with a large customer or a lot of doors are going to go on the system, I would recommend having a server just for access control system. And we'll go on to the next. I keep going backwards. Here's an example of a server-based system. This is the same as what I showed last time. This machine here is the server. And here's the controller. This is the communication between each device. So the server is connected directly to the panel, and in order for the client to communicate, it communicates to the server. And the server shows what happens real time on your controller. It's the gist of an access control system. It can, everything that's happening on that controller can be seen and viewed live on the server. So you want to see who's coming and going, you can sit in front of the machine and watch the, it'll be called the monitor, the client monitor, the monitor, live view. You'll hear a bunch of different terms. It's just the live transactions that are happening on the access control system. Let's see if I get it this time. Oh, I got it that time. Okay, here's our next panel. It's called the embedded web server. This system does not need software installed because the software and database are embedded in the controller. That's why you will hear the term embedded web server. That software and everything is held directly on the controller. You log into that device via a web browser, so Google, Internet Explorer, Firefox. Try them all. Sometimes you'll have issues out of one browser. One browser will work, the other browser won't. So have an open mind when trying to log into the device on what browser you're using. You'll use an IP address. An IP address is set up in this form. It'll have 4 sets of numbers for right now. An example IP address, 192.168.0.1. All panels will have a default IP address, and it just depends on the manufacturer of what that IP address is. I would log into the, well, not log in, look at your user manual and get that IP address and have it ready whenever your time to start programming your panel and getting into it. Just make sure you know each manufacturer generally uses a different IP address. Once you log into the panel, then you can change or reprogram the IP address. If you're working on the system and IT says, hey, look, I want you to use this IP address for the site, that means the installer, the programmer, has to change it in order for the device to communicate on their network. You'll be able to plug directly up into it and log into it directly initially. But if they ask you to change it, the only way it will communicate on their network, their customer's network, is you have to change that IP address. That may be another topic, IP addresses and changing your computer to communicate with the panel. That'll have to be another one. I'll talk to my marketing guys on that, because there's going to be a few things that would be beneficial to all of you to know about networking before, or at least be willing to learn about networking once you start getting into network panels. The more you know, the more comfortable you become, the faster and easier it'll be for you to get these systems installed and programmed and completed. Same thing here. If communication is lost to your controller, updates won't be made until communication is reestablished, which just means everything that's on the panel, if you lose network connection to it, everything's still there. It'll still function, what's still in there, but you can't make any additions until you reconnect to it. Pretty simple. For the web-based panels, we have the ZK Techo Atlas panel. This is the Atlas 100 and the Atlas 160 panel. The 100 would be the standard panel. That's just a proximity. It just uses prox. The 160, or if you see 260 or 460, The 60 means it is biometric, so it can function with its ZK's biometric readers. The only difference. And Tim, I believe so. A networking webinar will probably go on the list, and I'll just add it to that list right now, Tim. You guys, if you guys have any requests, go ahead and send them over. If there's something that you might want to see, might want to go over, or want us to do videos on, send it over. The more the merrier. I can get with Travis and my marketing team and get videos and start working on them. But we'll need that info. We'll be moving forward with the softwares and different devices as of now. But you guys have some things that you need to go over or want to go over, send it on over. Yes, Tim, keep me busy. Makes the day go by faster once you get the webinar started. I'll keep on moving. Did I get it? Yep. And here's just an example, some pictures of how web-based panels communicate. It's just the computer communicates directly to the panel. No software, nothing to install. Just log into the panel via IP address. Okay, here's the newest type of platform, cloud-based systems. So cloud-based systems, they don't require PC or software installed on the PC to access the system. The reason behind that is because the server is at a remote location, which I call a server farm, where it's just a location where a bunch of different servers are and they host different applications for different people. That server farm could be anywhere in the country. But Amazon Web Services is the one that I've seen for the two cloud-based systems that I've programmed so far. So your database, all the locks, inputs, and outputs are programmed by the installer on a PC or phone from anywhere, and you can do it at any time because you don't have to be on site to log in. You don't have to have any special privileges set up to remote in. You're connecting to the network, and that database is out on the network. You just log in. There's going to be monthly fees with cloud-based systems. Keep that in mind when selling them. And the charge is normally per door for the access control cloud-based systems, per door. And each manufacturer has a different charge. Benefits: the software and the panels are updated automatically on cloud-based systems. That's pushed down once the cloud-based people providing the service, when they make a change, that change happens as soon as they push it out, it goes out immediately. You don't have to make any accommodations, or you don't have to be there. You don't have to run any CDs or USB. It is done automatically. It updates automatically. The installing company can make some RMR off the fees associated with cloud-based systems. That'll be determined by the manufacturer that you choose to use, but each one has it built in where you have to pay per door, and it makes room for you to make some money on it as well. Tony, similar to the Engage and the Connect. Well, the Engage platform is a cloud-based system, but it is for their locks, they're not charging per door, but it is cloud-based. You can log into Engage from anywhere. Same thing with this. If you lose communication, you can't make any updates until communication is reestablished. That is for everything. anything communicating via network. That can be hardwired, that can be Wi-Fi. You're not going to communicate with it. If you lost communication somehow, you will not be able to make any updates to that panel. Let me see. Can a web-based server be accessed by several computers? Stuart asks, can a web-based server be accessed by several computers? And the answer is yes. It can be accessed by several computers, several phones. You can access it several different ways. RMR. Okay. Let's see. I'm in lesson right now. Brian Kessler asks RMR with a question mark. So RMR is going to be reoccurring monthly revenue. So money that can be made monthly would be RMR. So if you were to sell a cloud-based system and say you have 10 doors, and let's say a manufacturer charge you $10, or let's just say $20, and you make $10 per door. 10 to the manufacturer, 10 to you, then you just make the $70 per month. But the customer will have to pay those fees per door. And we're going to move on to the next one. We have any questions on cloud-based? Yeah, got it. So another diagram. Not the best at making diagrams, but it took me a long time to get this done. This is in general how it communicates. This is the cloud. The cloud is no more than the internet. You accessing the internet, that is the cloud. So you can connect via a PC, you can connect via phone, laptop, and the panel connects the same way. Communication is out and then back to your device. It's a pretty straightforward setup. Once you get connected, it is the ones I've done have been really reliable. I was skeptical on it, but there was not a day that I tried to log in that I could not. That was my concern with it not being on site, that I would not be able to log in because of if that provider was doing something or if they were down, I couldn't log in. But it proved me wrong that they are pretty reliable. And standard access to customers' equipment may depend on which side of the firewall is added. Correct, Glenn. That is, I'll put this one in my questions to go through. Our last system is app-based. We have a app-based system that's made by Kerry. It's called Aprox Blue. The picture isn't very clear, so if you need me to send that over, just let me know. It's called Aprox Blue. The system doesn't require software or any PCs. What you need is a compatible mobile phone or tablet, and you do all of the programming off of those devices, the phone or the tablet. You cannot connect to Aprox Blue with the computer, only phone or tablet. So your doors, your Rexes, your locks, cards, card holders, and time zones, and etc. can all be programmed via a tablet. The database is stored on the panel, and it communicates via Bluetooth. The manufacturer says about 120 feet. I kind of broke that down to maybe about 60 feet. If you have walls involved, it limits your communication via Bluetooth walls, concrete walls, just depends on what you have in between it, can limit your communication. But an example, if we were using this, you would want to put this device above the door and you can communicate to it that way above the door. You can send unlock features to it. You can do quite a bit. Run reports, run a report, do an audit, those type of things straight from their mobile device. Do we have any questions on app-based? Nope. Okay, I'll move on. And that is just a diagram of how app-based communicates. If anybody wants the slides after we're done, send me a message. I can send the slides over to you if needed. Just let me know if you want it emailed over to you. Send it in the message in the chat. So here's a few of the manufacturers that we cover. We have ZK Techo, which they have the C3 panel, which is a server base. We have the ZK Atlas panel, which is a web-based panel. Alarm Lock, Networks DL Windows, which is server-based. IntelliProx Blue, that's app-based. We have CanSec, Isonis, and Engage. They're all cloud-based platforms. And then we have Standalone, which in Standalone, again, you could get it in PIN, proximity, fingerprint, and facial recognition as well for Standalone. Ron has a question on app-based. Is there any subscription? And the answer is no. For that app-based IntelliProx Blue by Carry, there is no subscription to do that. The only subscription that you generally are going to run into is going to be from cloud-based panels. Server-based panels, there's no subscription, no monthly fees in order to run those type of panels. And we will continue on 48 minutes. So in access control software, I kind of took and made what I thought would be the most, some of the most important features of an access control software. I got another question with IntelliProx Blue from Ryan. With IntelliProx Blue, if the range is 60 feet, you need multiple panels. Well, Ryan, I say 60 feet to be safe instead of having customers go out and try to plug this panel up and try to communicate to it from over 120 and 30 feet. The IntelliProx Blue panel is a 1-for-1 panel. So you don't have multiple panels. You can't build a system with IntelliProx Blue. You can have one panel in your phone. That panel would be on its own. All the card holders in it would be in that one panel. If you put another one at you're doing at the front door, you're going to do one at the side door, it's going to be a separate controller in the software. And when it's time to add card holders and users, you're going to have to add those in manually to that device as well. This is you don't have a built system with IntelliProx Blue like you would have from a server-based, web-based, or cloud-based system. They're all 1-for-1. I'm not sure. Did that answer your question, Ryan? With IntelliProx. So Jeff has a question. Does IntelliProx Blue controller provide power to the lock? And the answer is yes, you can use the power that is provided when you purchase IntelliProx Blue. There's a power supply that comes with it and a reader. So you get the controller, which has a power supply built in, and you get a reader. You can use that same power to cycle through your relay and send power to your lock. So we'll just go over. Right. So Brian asked questions. So Aprox is better for single doors. Right. Better for single doors, and for customers who are computer challenged, or who refuse to use computers, or you'll run into a few people who they're just not going to use the computer for some reason. Whatever the reason is, they're just not using it. They're comfortable. You'll find that most people, even the people who aren't comfortable with computers, you can find those who use their phone quite often. So it would make it simple for a person like that. You have one door, two doors, pretty simple to do. You just have to add those cards in. You have two of the IP blue controllers. You just have to add those cards in twice. Have added in panel 1, and then add it into the second panel as well. And yep, the Aprox Blue, Brian, is really cost effective. I believe it's about $305 if I'm not mistaken. So for $305, you would get a controller. Controller has a power supply, and it also comes with one car reader. You'd have to buy a lock and some cable, and you're off to the races and get a door done. I have that here. I can see about setting up a demo for it. The only problem is since it doesn't connect to a computer, I have to figure a way so you guys can see the phone when we do the programming on it. Brian has another question. How many doors can work off one Aprox controller? One door. Or the specs say it can be two door. You can use have two readers, but it's only going to control one door. So for an in-out reader, in and out door, where you want a reader on both sides, you can do that. But it only has one relay on board, so it can only unlock one door. So I'll take a note. Got a lot of questions on Aprox Blue here, which is pretty good. So Ryan says some clients at the department do not want you on the network. All right. So Ryan made a good point. Some clients, IT department, do not want you on their network. And yep, you will run into some IT departments that will make it really difficult to get on their network, or impossible. So when talking to your clients or you're selling a job, if you can get in contact and ask the customers, do you want this on your network? Do you have an IT? You have an IT department. Will they have you ran this by them that you want to do an access control system? Or that's just a few questions you can ask your customer. First off, is there an IT department? Yep. If there is, are they okay with me having installing and getting this device online? Will they be able to assist me with IP addresses? You just ask the customer if there's an IT department. If there is, then you want to ask them, just be sure that it's okay that you're installing that on their network. If you talk to them before, you would at least know if working with IT is going to be a pain or it's going to be easy. And if you know it's going to be a pain, you can plan for that and just have them what they need in advance. Because some of those guys can be difficult. Not all, but some. Just FYI. I got another question here. Marion, well, I got Jeff first. Can you use wireless locks such as NDE with IntelliProx Blue? No, you cannot. The NDEs by Schlage work within it with the Engage platform, and if you want to have a hardwired scenario for the Engage platform, you would have to use what they call the CTE. The CTE panel is Schlage's hardwired panel that would work with Engage. So you would have, say, a hardwired door here, and you could have the rest of your Schlage lock, NDE locks connected that way. I have talked with those guys about doing some Schlage items. I'll put NDE in the mix. We'll do Schlage, and we'll use I'll do Engage, have them do it on Engage, and also have it with the CTE panel. So you can see the wireless locks, and also you can see the hardwired version at the same time. And I'll get with Schlage on that one. Marion asks, who buys this item? I mean, whoever wants to use it. Marion, generally for single door applications where the customer is not interested at using computers, or if they want a really cost-effective way to get it done, that IntelliProx would work for, if that's the item you're talking about. Manage a parallel public network. Glenn Whitlow, I'll have to get back to you with that one because I do not have the answer for you on that one, sir. I got a question mark on that one. So Yelm Locksmith says it's a good idea to have it set up dedicated isolated network for the system, so password changes on the regular network don't affect your wireless system. I mean, I think that would be on a case-by-case scenario. But if a customer says, hey, look, I do not want the access control system or the access control and video system, let's say they say we do not want it on our network, you can build your own network, which is you'll have to run some network cable and have it on its own. It would basically be, you would put together a small network just for them so they can use their access control system, but they will not be able to access it over their network. They would have to go to the machine, whatever computer they have connected that's directly connected, and program. If you run into a customer who says they don't want it on a network, give me a call. I can help you get the best case scenario for your application. Just give me a call. We'll figure that one out. For access control software, we have just a few things that I thought would be important. How you log in, how you add a controller to softwares, adding doors, door contacts and Rexes. Rexes request to exit if you're going to use it. Your locks, your lock time zone, which time zone is just a way to set a door up. If you want a door to be unlocked 8 to 5, you would set a 8 to 5 time zone. Pretty simple. Access level is how you allow people to have access to certain doors, and when you kind of create a group, and you could have certain people associated with, say, the manager's group or the morning shift, or that's where access levels you apply that. When we get into software, we'll go over a few of the different access levels and just examples of it. If y'all have any questions, again, send them on over. I'll be happy to answer them. Maybe I don't have time to answer them here, but I'll definitely go over all questions that come in. And if there's something that's not answered, I'll get back with you. Adding users is no more than users to a system. Like if a person to log in, you give them a user to log in. Card holders are the people who have cards. You issue cards out to them and their access. The monitor is where you can view what's going on live in the system. It'll be called several different things. It just depends on the system. Maybe live view, maybe live monitor. It just depends. It'll be different. And reports, if you see the word reports, it's the same as an audit. If a person is looking to run an audit, they're running a report. Same thing. Keep that in mind in the software, because you'll most likely see it as a report. And I've seen that some of our manufacturers have it labeled as audit. Yes, sir. I will give you my email address. It's coming your way. That is my email, and that is the end of our slide, guys. Do we have any questions before we move on and look at this new reader that we have? Does anybody in the room? Oh man, Marion asked a question. Who makes the PC board? Is it China? And I don't know who makes all of the boards, Marion, but I can tell you that a lot comes from over that way. That is just where we are. It's been that way for a long time. A lot comes from there. ZK Techo is from out of China. So, yep, you'll find most of it will come from over there. In several different parts of the world as well. So I don't see, and its components, right? Yes, sir. So I'll see if some more questions come in. And in the meantime, I'll show you our latest reader, which is the ZK Techo Biometric Facial Recognition, Handprint, and Temperature Detection Reader. It's a new addition. The lights that you see on board on top, it thinks the room is dark because I had the lights off. So if we were in a dark location, it wouldn't have the lights on, the LEDs, but the LEDs are on because it's dark in the office. This is the 5-inch model. The part number is going to be SFP 1005. We currently have a few in stock. That's the 5-inch model, so 5 inches tall, I believe. We also will have the 8-inch model here soon. I can't enlarge, Tim, because of the camera that I'm using. I'm currently working on getting some better cameras here soon, so I can show you guys close-ups of all the devices. Working on it. Work in progress. This is all new to most of us, so I am just figuring out as I go. But I will work on being able to give you guys a close view of devices and parts and pieces. Andre has a question for me. Will you be having a low voltage beginner class? I will talk to the marketing team, and if we get enough requests, yes, we probably can have a low voltage class. Jeff asked, is this class available for CEUs? I will verify that with our marketing team. If this one is CEU, you can get credit for CEUs, and I'll email you, Jeff, about that. And I'll push it a little closer to the camera, but the lights are going to blind the camera a little bit. But this is the reader, and it is 5 inches, smaller than I expected. We have another one coming that'll be 8 inches. So it's controller. You can use it as standalone, or you can use it with software. It's a preference. Keep in mind, for this SFP 1005 and SFP 1008, you will have to purchase a license in order to use software with the device. Must. I'll work on that one and see if I can get a demonstration. I'll do a demo on this here in the next 2 weeks. I'll have a live demo coming to show how this works. But just right here, while you can see me, I'll show you. You guys may be able to hear it. Well, I can't do it both on screen, but it is trying to read me, and it's a little too dark in the room. But I will cut on the light and see what happens. Give me a second, guys, to cut on the light. It's going to be a little brighter in here. But let's see if you can hear what's going to happen.
Normal temperature. Thank you. Please adjust your position for temperature screening.
So when it did read my face, it told me normal temperature. It showed access granted. And once access granted, that triggered the relay. Temperature, I believe, was 96. I'll adjust it and play with it and try to get the parameters right so we could have the temperature closer to. I'll bring in a thermometer and check my temperature, and then try to get it to match it by adjusting the parameters and see how it works out for me. But I'll have a live demo here soon on this one. Do we have any more questions? And Ivan, looks like I missed it. Oh, no problem, Ivan. We have any questions, guys? Is there anything else other than what we talked about that we'll be going over? Anything else that you guys might want to see? A demo, have a video, need to learn more about? Anything else? I have gotten some questions on low voltage. And Andre, I'll get back with you on the cost on that panel. So I've gotten questions on the low voltage class, and I've gotten a question on wiring. So to take care of the wiring, I'll do a video. I'm not sure, I haven't picked the panel, but I'll when we have the right cameras, I'll have a video showing how to wire a panel, how to wire the reader, the relay, how to test it, how to use the meter to check and see different things. I'll go over quite a bit with it. Also, keep in mind, you guys can ask as many questions as needed. Please ask questions. The more, the better for me, so I can get an idea of what specifically you guys are needing informational. It just helps to make the job easier. The more questions, the more I can put out. But I think that'll be the end of this one, sir. If you guys have any questions, feel free just to go ahead and send it in the chat. And I have all of your guys' email. Any questions that need to be answered, I will answer here by end of day. And if we don't have any more questions, that'll be the end of today's session, guys. Everybody have a good one. Be safe out there. And have a good one. I'll just leave this I'll leave this window open. I'm going to cut video off. If anybody stays on, have any late questions, I'll leave this window, the room running for another 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'll leave the window open. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and send it over. I'll get to it. You can send it through here, or you can just email them directly. Everybody have a good day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.